Boom. And we're live. So we're here with SpartanTano. Tano's a caster for Pokemon Unite. And if I recall correctly, you've been casting for 2 years, right?
Yeah, probably just over 2 years now. I'm just trying to think what anniversary it was for Pokemon Unite when I started casting, mate. So I think it was just over 2 years now.
Okay, cool. Have you been playing Unite since the game came out?
Yeah, ever since it released. I played it on, I think since the Switch, actually. It was the Switch version that I picked it up, and as soon as it released on Switch, straight on it. And I've played it ever since, so yeah. Maybe a little period here and there of like, I'm fed up with this meta, I'm going to go play something else for a little bit. But other than that, just non-stop, yeah.
Gotcha. What's that experience been like? I know sometimes it can be a little tough, some players are a lot to handle, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, I think because especially because I used to stream it, so it was like 5 days a week I was playing the game, and I say to anyone that plays or streams Pokemon Unite, unless you're like trying to be a pro player and go to UCS and all that, you've got to have a break. You've got to do something else in between it, because as much as I love that game, playing it like every night for hours, 5 nights a week, it was a lot, buddy. So
Oh yeah.
I was glad to break it up. I think it was the Mr. Mime, Glaceon, and Mew meta where I was like, I gotta take a few months out of this game because this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I know what you mean. But, before we get into Unite, I want to talk a little bit about ourselves and I guess a little bit more about you. So, I guess, tell me a little bit about, you mentioned you're based in the UK. I'm guessing you're based in London, as most people are, or no?
No. London is way too expensive. Anyone in the UK that doesn't live in London doesn't like London. So.
I feel like that's what it's like for a lot of capital cities.
Yeah, 100%. It's just ridiculously expensive for no reason. No, I am from a place called Yorkshire, what we call God's Own County up here in the UK. It's very, very beautiful. It's kind of like the idyllic England of plenty of green fields and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I grew up in my nearest city is the city where I live now is called Leeds, which is the second fastest growing city outside of London. So yeah, a little interesting fact for you. Yeah, and I've been here pretty much all my life. I grew up in a little town called Sherburn in Elmet, and that's about 20 to 30 minutes away from where I'm at right now. And then, yeah, that's pretty much been my life.
Cool. There's like a trend I noticed. I tend to travel a lot. Call myself like a digital nomad. And something I noticed is that the second biggest city in many countries is usually more trendy, more laid back, or more hipster. And it's not as intense or as chaotic as the capital city or the biggest city. So maybe that's true for you as well with Leeds, right?
I would say so. Yeah, I think Leeds is, because I've been to London plenty of times. I think Leeds is way more laid back. It's way more accepting, I would say. So I think you might be onto something there, mate.
Yeah, maybe that's just the natural progression of things. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but before we get into casting, also, what about the stuff you do outside of Unite and casting? You mentioned right before this call that you just finished work, so I'm guessing you work from home.
I only work from home 1 day a week. The rest I am not. So I work at a university. So 4 days I'm on campus. 1 day I work from home. Which I actually prefer. I feel like if I worked the whole time at home, either I wouldn't get anything done because I'd just be playing on my games all the time, or I just, it's one of those where I like being outside. Because I work at a university, I work on a campus, and the campus is very sort of open with the city that I live in, so it's very refreshing to be able to sort of go and chill on campus for work. So. Yeah,
it's probably a nice vibe too. I kind of miss that vibe. I saw pictures of my university campus on social media or something. I was like, I kind of miss that campus vibe. So maybe it's nice
Yeah.
to just like be on campus, isn't it?
100%, mate. Especially like with all the students that come and they're so excited because they're there for the first time, and you see all the. Ever since COVID, there's been like loads of rabbits that kind of just like walk around campus, like across all the greenery and stuff like that, and they're kind of used to people being around now. So
Okay.
it's like a really cute, idyllic picture. It's really nice.
Nice. And what is it that you're doing on like for the university? You're a professor or something? Are you teaching how to cast?
I am not smart enough to be a professor. No, we have a student sort of information service, and I'm a manager for it. So I kind of look after our different points around campus and stuff.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, in case you're curious, what I do is I teach English online. So, you know, it is possible for you to be a teacher or a professor, you know, don't undersell yourself. You never know. Cool. So you said that you got into Unite when it came out, and then about 2 years ago you started casting, but what was it that made you want to start casting?
Well, it was watching. I was watching Worlds. I think it was the first one, actually, the first Worlds ever, and it was watching people like Zoinks and Spraggles and Doob Snacks and being like, that's pretty hype. Like they're like they really add to the atmosphere. I've always loved esports. Like I've been involved in like different esports, mainly as a player, but I saw that and I was like, I kind of would like to give that a go. And there was a friend of mine that was playing Pokemon Unite that thought the same thing. So he was like, do you want to like just cast some games and put it on YouTube? So we ended up doing that. And then it kind of like opened up a passion in me. It kind of like made me realize I really freaking love this. This is really fun and I want to give it a go. So yeah, it kind of just shot off from there.
Well, what do you think it was that like really triggered that? I mean, like, so you started casting, but was it like the comments that people were leaving on the videos that you're putting out there? I don't know, were you putting videos out there? Or was it like the reactions people got that you got from people?
I think so. I think what it is because I mean I love Pokemon. You know, I mean I love Pokemon.
I can see that your background is everything Pokemon.
Hey, I've got Pokemon behind me. I'm literally covered in Pokemon tattoos. Like I have a Gengar tattoo on my hand.
That's pretty sick.
I've always loved Pokemon. I'm not very smart at like VGC or TCG. I have no idea how to play them.
Yeah.
So Pokemon Unite was right up my alley. I was like, this is my kind of game. So just having that passion from Pokemon, like it started to come out anyway. And then as I get feedback from people saying like, oh, because I do play by play, and you're hearing them saying, oh, like it's really awesome. You add to the production, like you add to like watching the game. It's really hype. So that kind of like spurred me on, especially in the beginning, because I was like, I have no idea if I'm any good at this. But then when you get the feedback, it's kind of like, oh, okay, so this is something, and that kind of adds to your passion for it as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a big part of like these games is the community of people behind it, from like content creators to streamers to whatever, really. And did you want to say something? I feel like I cut you off.
I was going to agree, mate, 100%. I think, especially with Pokemon Unite, it feels like the backbone of it is those content creators. It is these casters, and the amount of people that are putting work into showing this game outside of like what UCS is. Like that is the backbone to Unite. So I completely agree with you, mate. Yeah.
But you know, I noticed there's a trend that most of the content creators and casters, I don't think I really know anyone that's from the UK, really.
That is what I am here for.
You're here to fill the gap, eh?
I am. There is another caster from the UK that does Pokemon Unite called Relic. He covered the EUIC last year, and he's absolutely incredible. But he's the only other one. There's literally just me and him from the UK that cover this game. So I'm like, well, like we're gonna fill this gap. I think we bring like a good perspective, and the aim is that hopefully next year with these leagues that they've announced, they do try and aim for casters that are based in those areas to cover it. So I would love to be covering the EU region. Nice.
So coming back to Unite, you mentioned that you're not like super into like the the TCG and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What is like the MOBA genre the thing that you're into, or is it something else about the game?
I think it's competitive team play that is my kind of thing with esports. I come from like I played a little bit of Overwatch esports, a little bit of Rocket League esports, so it's kind of like that competitive team play. I think more than anything else with TCG and VGC, you're kind of like it's all on your own, and
Yep.
I think the mechanics of it are like you've got to be thinking 6 like steps ahead with those kind of games, which I still have to Google type differences, mate, because my brain learns bad. So you know what I mean.
Well, now there's like a lot. The whole thing. Like I remember when I was playing Pokemon back in the day, like there was like 10 types or something. Now there's like 20. I don't even know. Like I'm even worse than you are probably.
There's too many. The only one I know, obviously, you've got the OG of like fire and water and grass, and the only other one I know is that dragon is really effective against dragon, and that's all I can remember. Anything else, I'm like, nah. Google's my friend.
Yeah, seriously though. But you know that's kind of interesting because like there's another commonality I noticed here is that like a lot of the people I've been talking to, like the competitive players and stuff like that, they came from other competitive team-based games like Overwatch. Like I also played Overwatch, not competitively, but enough to get into it and realize that it's like the competitive aspect that I like. But of course, I also played other games before that. Like I played mobile games when they were like in their infancy with Dota 1.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. I had a look at like Dota and League years and years and years ago because I was like, you know, everybody talks about Dota and League. They are the pinnacle of esports. So I thought I'd have a look, and boy, I was like, yeah, this ain't for me. I tried it, and I was like, I have no idea what's going on. There's so many aspects to it. So the only other MOBA that I really played was Smite. I played that like quite a bit. I think I like the sort of the vision that you had on Smite, you know, where it's like third person, isn't it, rather than like face down, rather than that eye view, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, Smite was the only one I didn't really play very much. Maybe because of that third person view. Because I felt like it actually limits the amount of information that you can get. I guess maybe that could be useful, or it could be a part of the game that some people enjoy.
Yeah, 100%. I think because I come from first person shooters usually, so I think like that made more sense to me than like the whole from top down vision kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe for me, like coming from the OG Dota, I got used to that. But I think that's also part of the reason I liked it, because I like those real-time strategy games like StarCraft, Warcraft. But there's so much going on, so much like micro you have to do, like all these shortcuts, hotkeys, and lots of clicking. Like, man, if you watch the pros play, it's ridiculous. They're like,
I was watching the Esports World Cup this year, just having a nosy at like some of the games, and it was StarCraft that was on YouTube, and seeing how quick they press buttons. They were doing like actions per minute or something, and I was like, is that even humanly possible? Like, what am I actually seeing here? It's insane.
Yeah, man, it's ridiculous. And I saw that and I was like, there's no way. I don't even want to try getting good at that game. Like, but what I did like is I like the aspect of controlling maybe one character or like a small handful of characters, because then like the skill ceiling isn't that dependent on being able to press lots of buttons really fast.
I'm with you, mate. I'm 100% with you. The most RTS I can do is like Command and Conquer. Like that's about as far as I can go with
Oh man, that game! I remember playing that game as well.
A classic, mate, of the RTS genre. I'm a huge lover of Halo. So when Halo brought their RTS out, Halo Wars, boy, was I sold. That is, if you've never played it and you are an RTS fan, it is well worth a play. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had the chance to play a little bit, but wasn't that game like delayed a lot?
Yeah, it was delayed quite a bit.
Yeah, and I remember getting super hyped for it. It was delayed, and the hype just died down. And
the story is so good, though. It's incredible. It's such a good game.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it is at Halo. The story is really, really, really good. I played a lot of Halo with my friends. Man, it brings up the good old days when we played split screen and
Yes, the OG days of like Halo 2, Halo 3 online with like the birth of teabagging. Like, yes.
well, there is still something in the equivalent of that in Unite. It's running around circles around your opponent.
Dancing on them, yeah.
Yeah, man, I was watching some of the worlds and I saw which team? I don't remember which team it was. They did it to the enemy team, and I was like, I see you.
There's a lot of that in the pro Unite scene. It's really funny.
Yeah. But anyway, I think it's funny because it like you can mess with their mental, and I think that's actually part of the whole competitive experience. And one of the reasons I like the team-based competitive scene like you do, because you have like all these factors. You have your teammates that you have to take into account. You have to take into account like the meta, and the mental. There's like brain, like you can play these mental games or mess with them even before the match in certain ways. I mean, with Unite it's quite limited because like in League, for example, you can message them in the match. You can do like all chat and you can say whatever and mess with them immediately. I'm kind of glad it's not in Unite in a way.
I think so. I think it would be pretty it would get very intense because you can message like in the lobby, but it takes a while because obviously you've got to use like either the controller or your phone. But I think it would get pretty intense if they had that kind of thing in Unite, mate.
Oh yeah. So so what's the casting experience been like since you started these 2 years? Overall good?
Yeah, no, 100%. It's been exciting. I think like it's kind of comes tiring is another thing because like it takes a lot of effort just to try and keep learning and keep absorbing feedback and stuff like that. And it's one of those where like if you want to just do it for fun, then you don't need to put that much effort into sort of looking back on the work that you've done and how to improve. Whereas if you want to take it as far as you can, like I do, it takes a lot of time to sort of review how your casting's going, if there's ways that you can improve and all that kind of stuff. So over the past 2 years, it's been a lot of work, but I absolutely love it. I thoroughly enjoy it. My any caster like colleague that I cast with, they've been really sort of helpful, especially like those really experienced ones like Zoinks or Dupe Snacks, incredibly like helpful at providing feedback. So it's been a really exciting 2 years. It's, as I say, it kind of opened up that passion for me, and I feel like I want to take it even further than just Pokemon Unite, which I've been able to in this past year with Marvel Rivals when that came out. So it's kind of like opened up a kind of career that I want to look at, which is just kind of like life-changing realistically.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think it's part of the competitive spirit in us. Maybe that's why we play these competitive games as well.
Yeah.
We don't want to just, we don't want to be mediocre. We want to be one of the best and all that.
100%. Whenever I watch esports now, because I like watching esports anyway, I find it exciting. It's that competitiveness that we talked about. But whenever I watch it now, I listen to the casters and I'm like, I want to be that. Like that is where I want to be, and that's what I want to be doing. So it's that drive to want to be the best, 100%.
Yeah, I think it can get really intense. I specifically remember watching a match at Worlds, and I had to rewind it and put it at like 0.5 speed, which made it sound really funny, but there were some details that the casters were mentioning, and I was like, how did you even notice this in this like split second? Like when I first heard it, it sounded like gibberish, like they were like mumbling. But then when I listened to it at 0.5 speed, I realized what they were saying. They were saying bliss assistance or something, but then at normal speed it sounded like blah 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 blah, blah. Like a mumbo jumbo. But then I was like, wow, you noticed that? What the heck?
It's so valid, especially in a game that can be as quick paced as Pokemon Unite. Especially for like those kind of team fights. So that is so valid. It will sound like mumble jumbo, and then when you look back at it, you're like, oh, they did actually say words that make sense in a sentence. It's crazy. There's some worse games for it. Marvel Rivals is insanely quick in their team fights. So the casters for that are just absolutely awe-inspiring.
It's probably even more difficult because you have like the whole 3D environment, whereas in Unite, the spectator can zoom out and see a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So you can cover mostly everything with one view in Unite.
Yeah, it's really good for that. It's not that big of a map, really, is it, compared to like the 3D side of things. So yeah.
Something I found really interesting with casting is that like a lot of the casters are super up to date with the metas, and like during draft, for example, they comment on the selections and the choices and all that, and they say like these super small and very like niche details about the Pokemon and why they're choosing it. So how do you stay up to date with the meta? Do you just play the game a bunch?
Yeah, it's a bunch of reading up on it. Resources like Unite DB are just absolutely incredible for that. Like, people might be like, "Oh, don't use the builds," but the information that's on there is just absolutely insane. So a huge shout out to those guys. And then just playing it. You just gotta, any game that you're gonna cast for, you've got to play it. It's really the only way to kind of really understand the ins and outs of it. Whether that's what characters they're playing as, whether it's Pokemon or heroes or whatever, as well as like the sort of macro, like when people should be moving here, why they're moving there, that kind of stuff. You only get that from playing it.
Also, I think a lot of it comes from playing it on a higher level too, because I don't know about you, but solo queue is it's a shit show.
Mate, I pretty much like only do solo queue outside of like some community games here and there. I used to play it like in a team like for the first 2 years, and then I was like, yeah, 5-stack isn't for me. In solo queue or duo queue, I am a beast on this game, and I am very comfortable. But in a 5-stack, I don't know. Maybe it's because like you have to rely on other people in the team as well. And I haven't quite found the team for me, but I just feel like I ain't got the capabilities to 5-star that well.
No, man, you gotta believe in yourself. I believe in you. But
I appreciate it.
I think it's also kind of inherently like a drawback of the game, because the game, like, unfortunately doesn't put enough like emphasis on the voice chat feature, and people get randomly banned if they use it and stuff like that. And that's kind of really sad, because in games like Overwatch, people really used it really well. It was like so much more necessary as well. So I think that like the game kind of trains you to play in solo queue, and so you get used to using certain strategies and play styles that are good for solo queue. But then when you play in 5-stack, or when you play in-house matches or anything like that, it's a whole different ball game, man. Like I started playing more. I've been trying to also get into the competitive scene, see what that's like, dipping my toes in the water. And something I noticed with these in-house matches that I've been doing is that it's like I have to unlearn certain things, honestly. And like the value for certain characters changes drastically. Like at least for defenders, like. Honestly, sometimes I'm in these matches and I feel like I'm not doing anything, and I'm like, all I do is heavy slam an opponent, and then that's it. But in these in-house matches, my team follows up, they KO them, and I'm just like, all I did was jump on you.
Yeah, no, I think it's like, because in-house is like you've got everyone there that's aspiring to be a better player. And I think they recognize that you do have to rely on the other people in the game. Whereas in solo queue, everyone's just out for themselves, aren't they? They're like, my experience with it is that everybody just wants to be the carry. Everyone wants to be the one that, dominates the game and is the MVP or whatever. Which isn't the case in-house games. I tell you, defenders and support players, a huge shout out to you guys, because the game wouldn't be possible without you, and I could never do it myself. So
that's actually, I play a lot of defenders and a lot of all-rounders, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Mostly defenders. So yeah, in solo queue defenders, it's just like, man, sometimes I see these matches and I'm matched up with people that are, you can tell if you're matched up with people who are better than you or not almost immediately, because if you're if you're at the top of the list, then you have the highest MMR, which I am most of the time. So I'm like, if I'm at the top and I have the highest MMR, playing defenders is a lot of a riskier choice here, because I'm relying on worse players to carry the team. And so what happens is, like, for example, I play Ho-Oh, my ally dies, I revive, and he just stands there and dies again. I'm like,
It's like a curse, isn't it?
Yeah, man, seriously. So that's the thing. Like in those if I'm like highest MMR in those matches, maybe it's better if I just play an attacker. But then you get a whole team of attackers, and then that's also not good. And then
Yeah, I think it's also that like the nature of the game is so different in certain areas. Like right now, attackers are struggling, like especially in solo queue. I've recognized a couple of pro players that have been saying that like they don't want to use their attackers anymore because they're feeling like it's a difficult meta to play them in. There's a handful that do all right. You know, you've got your Intellions, you've got your Muse, but outside of that, it feels like you can't really influence the game much. So that adding that to the fact that everybody wants to be the carry in solo queue is just a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, that's kind of why I kind of lean towards all-rounders more initially.
Yeah.
Because it's like playing attackers is a high-risk decision. It's easy for you to just get assassinated by one of these speedsters, and if you have a lot of experience, that's a lot of experience you just gave to the enemy team, and that's no good.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's why they also like to bring us a lot of all-rounders that people can play, because it's kind of, you know, it's in the name, isn't it? It's the one that everyone can find some sort of comfortability on, and kind of survive and do like affect the game in some way. I was doing some research the other day, I think, because like I have a list of like all the Unite moves saved on my phone, so I can look at it whenever I need to. So I was adding on some of the new ones, and the amount of all-rounders in this game is absolutely ridiculous, mate.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
It's the one role that has the most, and they're adding more too. Two new ones or three.
Yeah, I mean, we know at least two.
Yep.
Although,
what's Palmot? Palmot is.
I think. Oh, is Palmot an attacker?
I don't know. I thought he was an all-rounder.
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
And Vaporeon is going to be a defender, which I'm super excited about.
I'm on board with that. I like that. I think Vaporeon should be. I know people have been calling for support, but I think defender makes a lot more sense for it.
I don't know if you noticed, but you know, a lot of these like roles that these Pokemon have, they align really well with like the stats that they have in the mainline games. So like if like Suicune, for example, I think has a lot of defense or special attack. I don't remember. But it's kind of like well balanced. Whereas like someone like Chandelure has like a lot of special attack. So it's an attacker, which makes sense. And then another example that comes to mind is like all the speedsters, because they all have a lot of attack and a lot of speed in the mainline games. Or obviously defenders have a lot of defense stats. So they probably just look at those stats and they're like, okay, well, here's the role it's going to be then.
Yeah, it's probably how it goes down. I think it's interesting with defenders though, because in this game they're pretty much all rounders. The way the game is, or at least in this meta. And a while before it, I mean, Snorlax is absolutely ridiculous right now.
Yep.
They're very much like defender all rounders, which is crazy.
I really like Snorlax, but only if I play Flail, because I feel it's so much more fun. Maybe because I like the all-rounder playstyle more.
Yeah.
But the Heavy Slam playstyle is, I find it quite boring. It's just like, do jump around once in a while.
And very much so.
yeah. And in solo queue, it doesn't really have a much value if your team isn't following up on your booty slams.
Exactly that, mate. And it is a big booty. They do affect quite a lot of Pokemon in a team fight, but if no one's backing it up, you're kind of stuck in a situation where you're in deep in the other side of the enemy's side, and no one's backing you up. So it's a very risky play.
That's why I noticed one of the things in these in-house matches is we play with voice chat on, and as a defender, it's super important to say when you're going to engage. Like, I'm going to engage, and then your whole team knows that you're going to go in deep or whatever, and so you actually get value out of it. Whereas in solo queue, it's not really easy to like tell people you're about to engage. I mean, you can ping like the push forward attack thing, whatever it is.
I think they could deal with better ones for that though. Like, what's wrong with having one that's like, I'm going in, or you know what I mean, something like that. Like, I think looking at those pings, I mean, you only see these same free ones being used, like thanks or let me level up first or that kind of stuff. But I think they could be way better ones that they use and implement into the game. That's what I would like to see, just to try and encourage those solo queue players to sort of communicate a little bit more if they don't want to use VC.
So what do you have your four options? You know, the 4 options that you can customize. What do you have those set as?
I think I did change it to the wheel, so it is quite a few on there. I think I have them going top and I'm going bottom because I play a lot of speedsters, so I'm used to going to the central area. I have let's fight together because if you don't ping that at the 2-minute mark, nobody gets to Ray. I think let's get experience for now, like stop fighting the team or something like that. It's something along those lines.
Yeah.
For when we're getting snowballed and people just seem to want to constantly fight. So it's kind of around those communications that is. I don't have thanks is what I will say. I did for a while, but I don't have thanks on it anymore.
I also had it for a while, but it wasn't helping, and I wasn't trying to use it as a troll thing. I wanted to actually use it legitimately, but people were getting tilted anyway.
Yeah, there's no way to do it legitimately. Everyone just thinks you're doing it in the sarcastic way. So
yeah.
I took it off. I think I need backup. I think I've got that on just because I don't know. Maybe that's my way of being sarcastic if I've been left in the lane on my own or something like that.
Yeah. What do I have again? So I have going to top and bot as well. I guess that's useful as a defender. Sometimes I need to rotate to defend while some people are going to security the objective. So
yeah,
if I notice like 2 of the enemy team is at top, I might go top because we're pretty likely to secure the objective if 4 of our members are there and 3. I also have, what do I have? Let me level up first, because sometimes I'm at like a breakpoint, you know, and I need to get the last hit on something, and you need to, well, get that breakpoint so that you're not losing the team fight that you're about to do. And then what's the last one? I think let's fight together or something like that.
You need that one.
Yeah.
No one turns up to Ray if you don't have that one, mate.
Yeah. And then if I were to add another one, it would be the let's get experience first or whatever.
Yeah, that's valid.
So when it comes to Unite, which role is it that's your main role or your main Pokemon?
It's kind of like changed throughout the times. I used to be an attacker main, so I played loads of them. Like Espeon was my most played Pokemon like a couple of years ago, and then it was kind of speedsters now. I love playing speedsters. Not all of them though, only a handful that I really enjoy. Talonflame and Cypher are my favorite. I would say like Absol's like my main though. That's the most played character that I've got is Absol. But I do like some all-rounders as well. I'm not very good at the sort of being there brawling type. I'm more of an assassin type player, which is why speedsters work for me. But I do love some of those all-rounders. Specifically the pseudo speedster ones though, like Ceruledge is like one of my favorites.
Ceruledge speedster? I mean, he does have kind of a bit of mobility.
Bro's a speedster, mate. Trust me. It's Mimikyu, Cypher, and Ceruledge. They're speedsters.
Yeah, Mimikyu, I can see that with Shadow Sneak. I guess if you play Ceruledge with the Flame Charge, it has more mobility for sure.
It's about like you're kind of using them as an assassin. Like that's how you want to use those Pokemon. So they're very much like a pseudo speedster. You got the other side where you've got the pseudo all-rounders that come into the game as well, like Armarouge with Fire Spin, for example. Like that thing takes so much to take it out. So yeah, I like that though. I think that's pretty cool from Pokemon Unite to have those kind of like differences in that role.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually one of the things I really like, because if you compare it to something like League, like if you choose the DPS character, then you're DPS. There's no question about it. Or if you choose like the tank, you're the tank. You're not going to be the attacker. Yeah. Whereas in Unite, you sometimes can get like attackers that are support because they have a XP share, or sometimes you get like the all-rounders that are kind of assassins because of those move sets, and then a bunch of different varieties here. Like even speedsters can be kind of supportive. Like XP share and Galarian Rapidash works kind of well. Yeah,
same with Darkrai. EXP share works really well. Specifically because like you're kind of using that right to put people to sleep, so it's not like you're that concerned about, although it still does a ridiculous amount of damage. That thing needs a nerf, bro. But no, yeah, I like that. I think that's a really interesting aspect that Pokemon Unite adds into it. So it means that when you look at it, you're not just like, oh, it's a supporter, so that's what it's going to be doing. Like Wigglytuff is a tank. That thing will take all of your damage and still survive.
Yeah, and then just roll away.
Yeah.
But I like to experiment a lot with XP share. I don't know what it is, but I've been like testing XP share on all kinds of Pokemon, especially like all rounders. And I need your opinion. What do you think about XP share on Charizard?
I think that you shouldn't put EXP share on Charizard. Well, the thing is, I think with Charizard, like you need to be hitting Charizard as soon as possible, because the reason you pick Charizard is for that Unite move. So realistically, I just think the only place to really throw a Charizard, take that central area to begin with and go from there. I wouldn't put any XP share on it, because it doesn't matter how rubbish Charizard is with the rest of his moves. If that Unite move is like that, it will always be one of the best. So
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
But hear me out.
Okay, here we go.
So, yes, jungler Charizard is probably like the ideal scenario. But where I see XP share on Charizard working kind of well is in those scenarios where you have like a defender that doesn't want to have XP share. So I don't know if you have like a Carry Lapras or a Goodra.
Damage Toys,
yeah, Damage Blastoise or something like that. Then in that case, you can. I like to run XP share on Charizard because well, you have a little bit more range, and early game you're not doing a lot of damage, but late game I noticed even with XP share, you do enough damage. Like Charizard scales so well that even late game, if you're on level, you can get to level 13 pretty easily, because the problem with a lot of defenders, especially when they have XP share, is that they can't farm very easily. But Charizard does a lot of damage. So when you're at like when there's 4 minutes or 3 minutes left in the game, you can farm like the Indites near your base pretty quickly, and you can reach the higher levels for the Ray fight pretty consistently. So from my perspective, it like reduces the risk of being super weak for the Ray fight, while increasing like the strength of your defenders, which I personally like. I think is really good, because then if you have a really strong defender, they're less likely to die, and then you have that good front line for like all the team fights, as long as they're good defenders. Because if
yeah, I get what you're saying. I think it's one of those where you've got to work out, do I want to be like trying to affect these team fights as soon as possible and work as a team to start snowballing, or am I playing late game? I think if you're like, let's play for the late game, then I think it does make sense with what you've just explained. If you're thinking, let's get these like evos as soon as we can and start snowballing this game, then you're better off taking it off and getting that Unite move as soon as possible.
Well, here's the thing, like the ideal scenario for Charizard when it is like supposed to do lots of damage is it's probably going to be squishy, because you're not running a lot of defensive items or health items. And that's like a risky play, just like how we were talking about before with assassins or attackers. Like someone can jump on you, you're dead in one shot from something really strong. And so if you're like running something a little bit less squishy, like XP share on Charizard, you have more mobility and a little bit more health. So here's the build I like to do on XP share Charizard. So XP share and Resonant Guard and what's the anti-healing attack item called again?
Oh, you got like Curse Incense and
Curse
what's
Bangle.
the other one? Curse Bangle. Yeah.
So Curse Bangle, XP share, and Resonant Guard. And what that provides is the extra experience for your ally, the shield from Resonant Guard, and anti-healing. So those are all kind of utility functions there. And on top of that, something a lot of people don't see, actually. So this is another reason why I really am a believer of XP share Charizard. So like in the very last match of Worlds, there was a Charizard like attacking Ray, and he didn't know that there was a Zacian in the bush. But if he had Resonant Guard and he chose Fire Blast instead of what's the other option? The other option.
Fire Blitz.
Yeah, Fire Blitz. Then he would have been able to send a Fire Blast into the bush, and his Resident Guard would have procced, which tells him that there's an enemy in the bush. But he didn't know there was a Zacian in the bush. So the Zacian came at him and destroyed him, and they lost the match because he didn't he didn't get his Unite out in time.
I like it.
So you can bush check more because of the Resident Guard, and you have essentially two ways of doing that, because if you have Flamethrower, you can see if you got the move speed increase. So if you have the Resident Guard up, you can check with Fire Blast, and then you can check another bush with Flamethrower. So you're checking bushes, you're providing experience to your team, and the shield from Resident Guard, and you're preventing them from healing because Fire Blast sits around for a while, and Flamethrower has quite a lot of range. So you see what I mean?
I do, yeah, mate. I like the idea of it being the kind of the recon of the team, realistically. I like that, mate. Are we going to be able to see you playing in some of these EU tourneys? Throwing a bit of that out there. That's what I want to see.
Well, here's the problem. Like, no matter how good or how much I've validated these strategies, the biggest problem I see is that my team gets tilted. Man,
yeah.
It just goes to show how important mental is, because they see an XP share Charizard and they already lose it. They're like, screw this, I'm going AFK. Or like, if you play with in-house and you even mention XP share Charizard, they lose their minds. They go crazy. They're like, what are you, crazy? You're dumb. Blah, blah, blah.
They just need to be shown the way, mate. That's what it is. You got to just explain, no, trust, I'm cooking. Just explain it. And then if you do well on it, they're going to be like, you know what? Man's onto something here. That might actually be an idea. If you do bad on it, they're going to be like, I told you so.
Well, that's like inherently what's going to happen, because you're XP share Charizard, so early game you're not going to be doing much. And the idea is you're going to be helping your defender that doesn't want to have an XP share, so they are going to be doing well. And meanwhile, because you have XP share, you're not necessarily carrying early game. And so it's going to look like you're playing like trash every single time. You know, like...
Yeah, no, that's valid. That's valid. Until you get the Ray. That's all people see, mate. Who secures the Rayquaza? That's all people care about.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. I've been actually a believer of XP share on different unique Pokemon like Mewtwo X, Mewtwo Y. Before pros even used them. And I can tell you from experience, like I've been using XP share on those as well. Especially in solo queue, before pros used them, and everyone was like, getting tilted. But then as soon as pros use them in tournaments, no more tilted. Like,
yeah. It all makes sense now, doesn't it? I know. I mean, you get that in any esports. I mean, the second Chris Heroes drops a video, you just see everybody running that build as if it's a good build.
I know, man. Man, I'm so salty when this happens. Like, even in Worlds, like, there weren't a lot of attackers, and one of the few that were used was Mewtwo Y. But before Worlds, like, I was playing these in-house matches, even solo queue, and nobody was using Mewtwo Y. Like, I didn't see Mewtwo Y almost at all. Nobody banned it. Nobody picked it. Nothing. And then the next day after Worlds, everyone was choosing it. I'm like, are you guys like lemmings? I swear.
It's exactly that. They just see it and they're like, oh, I want to cook on that. I have a friend where whenever I play a game of Unite with them, if I'm playing a Pokemon, like the very next game, they play that Pokemon as if to be like, oh, I can do it better than you. Like, that's every single time without fail, mate. And I feel like that's kind of where it comes from. I want to prove that I can do better on that Pokemon, which... I mean, Mewtwo is good, to be fair. One of the only attackers that is doing all right at the moment.
Yeah, and to be fair, like after I got salty that everyone was choosing Mewtwo Y, I was like, all right, screw this. I'm going to play Mewtwo Y nonstop. That's the only... I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to choose it. Even if I have to use XP share Mewtwo Y, because it still works on Mewtwo Y.
Yeah.
So I just choose Mewtwo Y. And if nobody runs XP share, if we need a second XP share, I take XP share, whatever. I don't care.
That's valid. I'm not one to run the XP share. I'm not an XP share person. And probably because I play a lot of solo queue. So in solo queue, like anyone that takes it into solo queue on defenders, on supports, you are beautiful. You're the most amazing person I've ever met, because that takes some doing. Does that? I'll say that in solo queue, mate.
I mean, I'm using it in solo queue, so
I take my hat off to you. Genuinely, I do.
Yeah. I think it's just such a powerful item, and it's underutilized quite a bit.
It is. I mean, by the sounds of it, it's going to be a passive item coming in for defenders and supports. So
We'll see. We'll see. We're not really sure what the leaks are hinting towards exactly.
it wouldn't surprise me. I feel like. I mean, obviously, it's not confirmed, and we have to take it all with a pinch of salt. But where the leaks have come from, it's one of those where usually it does happen. So
Yeah.
I think it makes sense though. I think the game does a bad job at explaining what these held items do sometimes.
I think that's intentional.
Yeah, EXP share is one of the worst as well, mate. Like just to explain what that does, bro. Were you around like a couple of years ago when everyone was having a massive debate on what EXP share even does?
Yeah, I remember they even changed it, and then after that, everyone really understood that it was much better and started using it more and blah blah blah.
It's good. It was a good change. I hope they make more changes to some of these held items. I know they've just recently made some changes to like the recovery HUD and stuff like that. I love it when they do that because you gotta be
and Drain Crown.
be able to use them all. Yeah, exactly. There's got to be a reason to use all of the held items in the game instead of just not touching them.
Yep. I like the concept of Drain Crown. Getting some lifesteal with your attacks.
Yeah.
But it doesn't lifesteal off of shields, and there's so many shields in the game that it just makes it trash.
God, yeah. Heals, shields, and CC all day long in Pokemon Unite. It's a problem. It's an epidemic in the game at the moment.
Yeah.
And they nerfed full heal, man. Like what? Why?
Wait, they nerfed full heal?
Oh, it was ages and ages ago, mate. So it used to like have quite a low cooldown. Now and it only lasts for like a second or something like that. It's absolutely ridiculous.
To be honest though, like full heal in like the really high pro gameplay makes a huge difference. The timing for a full heal is huge. Like especially if you're playing speedsters, which you do. So if
100%.
you're if you're playing Zoroark and you're about to go in, no doubt someone's gonna try to CC you. So if you got full heal, you're good to go.
Well, you're good to go for the first hindrance, and then you're screwed. So
yeah,
that's what frustrates me with it, though, is that like there's so many Pokemon on a team that have heavy CC. Like there's so much in this game. There's not many Pokemon that don't have some form of crowd control. So they got to do more to help people try and overcome that. Full heal needs a buff. I'm begging.
Yeah, that's why I think Pokemon with Unstoppable have like such a huge advantage. Like and those Pokemon with Unstoppable I think are also those that have potential to run XP share.
Yeah,
I've
seen it on Blaziken, to be fair. So
well, the thing with Blaziken's Unstoppable is that he's sitting in one spot.
Unless he's got that eject button, which is what people use the most for it. Or Lucario. I've seen it on Lucario a little bit as well.
Yeah. I mean, in those cases, it doesn't really, like the XP share thing I mentioned doesn't really make sense because those moves, sure, they give you Unstoppable, but they're meant to do damage. Like they're supposed to just do lots of damage. Whereas let's look at another Unstoppable, like Mewtwo X or Y. If they have their Psy Shock or Psy Strike, whatever it's called, they have Unstoppable and they can move. So
good mobility, yeah, that's true.
So it gives you like a low risk option to, I don't know, poke your enemies or, move around the map and stuff like that. Another one that I can think of, another debatable XP share Pokemon that I want to bring up is Tyranitar.
Oh, okay. Jesus. Okay. I mean, I don't think you get more late game orientated than Titar. Like, to be fair, Larvitar is pretty decent in lane. It's got some good secure. Pupitar is definitely better than it used to be, but is the weakest phase of Tyranitar. So I don't know. I mean, where are you taking it with the XP share on it? Is that the same tactic as Charizard or?
So the strategy with Tyranitar and XP share is obviously early game you're not doing that much. So if you do fall behind, it gives you a little bit more opportunity to come back and have that catch up mechanic work to your advantage. But when you get Ancient Power is really the secret because it gives you a little bit of move speed, and Ancient Power gives you a bunch of move speed, so you can run up on your opponents with that Unstoppable and get the CC off to help them to help your team then engage. Kind of like the same logic that you might see a Galarian Rapidash with Smart Strike.
Yeah.
You just kind of catch an opponent there. And see, the thing with Tyranitar is that it tends to be kind of risky. You usually need like a support to come and shield you or heal you when you go and engage, because you just want to go, balls deep and smash around everything.
That's true.
But like if you're the lowest level on your team, it's not that risky. You're not going to be giving the enemy team a lot of catch-up experience. See, that's kind of the way I look at it, is like risk mitigation.
Yeah.
And if you're running XP share, it mitigates a lot of the risk that you would have otherwise. I can keep on going in and on about this kind of stuff, right? But
it's one of those where like I feel like that Pokemon, it's a different way of playing it, which I like. I like that that's the route that you're exploring with these, because like Titar and Charizard, I guess they are the kind of Pokemon where like you want the late game to be set around them, being able to do that mega damage. So it's interesting that you're going to take that different approach with it, mate. I understand where you're coming from with the risk mitigation,
but it's about like the late game. Exactly. Like late game, you're going to be strong even with XP share. Sure, you're not going to be the strongest on your team maybe, but you're still going to be kind of strong. And I think like before the 5-minute mark, you should be looking at it as a XP share Pokemon. But then after the 5-minute mark, it's going to be harder to like be around allies sometimes and share the experience. And so sometimes what ends up happening is there's like Pokemon near like that are just sitting around that you should be getting experience from.
Yeah.
And if you're Charizard or Tyranitar, you can get that experience really quickly because you do lots of damage. And it reduces like the wasted experience that nobody else is getting. Whereas, XP share Clefable is not going to knock him out very quickly. Well, it could actually. It does a lot of damage with some of its moves.
It feels like it does.
Anyway, I feel like I'm ranting on too much about XP share now.
Hey, listen, I like the passion for the XP share, mate. We need more people with a passion for this held item.
I'm telling you, man, you're gonna be casting one of these matches. You're gonna see like an XP share Charizard, an XP share Tyranitar, and you're gonna be like, I remember talking to some guy about this.
There we go. There it is. I hope so, mate. Are you? Because I know you've mentioned previously that you're aiming to get into like the sort of pro play this year. Have you found a team? Are you looking for a team?
Well, right now I'm just getting really involved with some in-house matches to like show my potential, to get better as a coordinated team, and to understand myself really well when it comes to this pro scene. I've tried out for some of the pro teams like last year, 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And it was a different time back then. I was much more naive, let's say. Back then, I was not an XP share believer.
That's where I'm at the moment. No. Yeah, that's fair, mate. I think the biggest thing is just like, I think people, especially Pokemon Unite players, just need to be a bit more open, just be a bit of a sponge. Do you know what I mean? Like, the Pokemon Unite has a big ego problem.
Oh, yeah.
And especially in the EU region, we have such an ego problem. That I think people could definitely benefit from just being a bit more kinder and a bit more open to people around them.
Yeah, definitely. Imagine like how your ego would feel if the enemy team destroyed you with an XP share Charizard.
That's the play, is it? The ego destroyer.
Exactly, man. I'm playing on another level. I'm trying to mess with their mental,
That's 50% mental, mate. I think it's a good play.
Yeah. So what's it like casting for the EU region actually? Because you mentioned to me that most of the casters are like from NA and not many from the EU. What's that like?
It's exciting. The thing is, like, EU has struggled in Pokemon Unite, I think, because maybe from an interest side of things, or when we get to Worlds, we don't put that good of a showing in. They struggle. I mean, a huge shout out to Nouns managing to get like I think it was top 6 this year or something like that. But yeah, it's just one of those where like the EU has struggled throughout the season, but There are so many people and so many teams that are putting in a lot of effort for grassroots esports for EU, that it has been incredible this past year to see the excitement. Like this past year, having Nouns, Komai, and Gen 5 go to Worlds, like we'd been following them throughout the entire year in all of these sort of weekly and monthly tournaments from the grassroots scene. And it was awesome to see a team like Komai, for example, develop to the level that they were at when they went to Worlds. That is kind of what I'm looking at. Like that's why I love casting this region so much. Is we've got some amazing players here, man. They just haven't found their team, and they haven't found the synergy they're looking for yet. So it's great to be able to sort of bring that to a lot of people in all the different tournaments that we do.
Yeah, I think EU is kind of in one of those kind of situations where, because there's so many different countries with different languages.
Oh yeah,
it can be hard to get that team coordination, because some people are not used to certain accents, or some people are not used to even speaking English in that way.
Yeah.
I don't want to call out the French, but the French tend to really prefer speaking French.
They're very private, are the French, as far as like EU Pokemon Unite goes.
Yeah.
Which is valid. I think it leads from what you were saying, where like they prefer to speak French and not too much English, which is it's fair enough.
I think it's part of their culture. I swear. Like I've been to France, I've been to Paris, and I've interacted with some Frenchies in English, and then they acted like they didn't understand me. And then like all of a sudden they started understanding me and speaking English perfectly fine back to me, and I'm like, why didn't you do this from the beginning? Like, you obviously know. See, you can tell I'm a tourist. Like, what the heck?
I just don't think they like the English, mate. Which is fair. It was the same for me when I was in Paris. Definitely not a fan of the accent and the language, but it is what it is. They're the most active group of Pokemon players as well in Unite. Is the French. I think we're both part of the Fight Night server that's been going on, and the French are just incredible. Like they just want to be constantly playing Pokemon Unite, man, and constantly learning. It's quite exciting.
Yeah. I mean, kudos to them for that. I mean, they're part of the biggest group, I guess, in that community. Which is kind of the struggle, because what happened to me in some of these matches, like I ended up on a team, there's 3 of them that are French, or maybe 4 that are French, and they switch to French all the time. And I kindly asked them to speak English so I could understand their callouts and all that. They do it for 5 seconds and then back to French. And it messes with my mental. I swear, it's like I get tilted.
I bet. Well, the thing is, like, it's one of those where it's hard for you, and then it's probably, if they're used to speaking French and they're not used to speaking English at all, it's probably hard for them because they'll just go back to like the nature of speaking of French. So yeah, I think that's probably why the EU struggles so much with team synergy, because as you've said, all those different language barriers, it's a lot, man. EU's a big region.
Yeah. It's also communication style. Because in different cultures, they have different ways of communicating. Some are more direct, some are less direct.
Oh, yeah.
And so if they're trying to give feedback to each other, some might take it personally. Some, they're not as direct as they should be. You're probably more familiar with the English kind of communication styles, but at least from my perspective, the English tend to be less direct.
Yeah, we definitely are. Where we try to be polite. Well, we try to see ourselves as polite, and it's more that like where we kind of beat around the bush a little bit. Like that's a bit of a colloquium, but it's basically just like we're not as direct, and we kind of want to try and get the point across without hurting feelings.
Which makes things a little bit more complicated, because then the other person don't understand what you're trying to say, and then there's miscommunication, and then blah blah blah. I've had some situations with that.
Yeah, it's a lot, mate. Which despite that, considering like all that they go through, the amount of people that have been really practicing Pokemon Unite has been awesome in the EU region. So yeah, it's great.
So what about these like big tournaments? Have you been attending them? Have you been casting them?
Yeah, so I mean, when it comes to EU Pokemon Unite, unless it's the official like stuff, I'm there, bro. I'm on that screen. My face is involved in some way, shape, or form.
Nice.
I think the official like stuff is the only stuff I haven't been on yet, which is like what I want to do as my next step.
So would you say that's your main goal?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I want to be EUIC. I want to be on that stage, hyping up those teams for the crowd. Like that's the goal.
So who are you going to replace? Spraggles?
Oh, absolutely not. I could never fill those boots. No, I think like
Those
I'm
cowboy boots.
hoping I look good in cowboy boots, but I
Hey.
could never fill Spraggles' cowboy boots. No, I'm hoping that with this year, because they're doing these leagues now, which we don't know much information about it, but I'm hoping there's enough sort of coverage throughout the leagues to be able to get more casters involved. I'm honestly a big believer of if it's the EU region, they should be looking for EU casters. If it's an NA region, they should look for NA casters. OCE the same. That is, I'm a big believer in that. Giving local talent the chance. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for this year. But all we can do is hope. Fingers crossed, mate.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can always just improve yourself and your casting ability. Which, speaking of, what does it take to improve that, and how do you do it?
Just constant reviewing and keeping in practice. I mean, my weekly schedule, although it is going to change because Engage, there's two big like tournament organizers for EU Pokemon Unite. One of them's Engage GG and one of them's Unity Clash, and they both have some massive like EU stuff going on or recently announced. So I'm going to be covering all of that. So my weekly schedule, usually on a Monday, is the day that I will go back and look at all the VODs of the casting that I've done over the weekend and that kind of stuff, and try to identify certain things that need to be improved.
So you listen to yourself casting?
Yeah, it's cringe, but
yeah,
it's, nobody enjoys it, mate. But you got to. It's the only way that you're going to be able to improve. So I'll go back and notice like certain words that you say all the time, your certain safe words that you've got to try and cut out and move on from, and check like the word efficiency and stuff like that. And then it's just also keeping on top of casting. A lot of the times, if you're just doing big tournaments, it'll be like weeks between like doing casting. So I make sure that I am always casting in some way, shape, or form. So I do it like every night, wow. Every night of the week. The only night I don't is Friday.
So how much time do you have to commit when it comes to this kind of stuff, like per week?
A lot. I mean, I work 9 to 5, so I work full time, and then I'll spend some time with my partner, and then come up here probably like 8 p.m. on a night, and I will be doing some form of casting or reviewing for like 2 to 3 hours every single night.
Dang, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort, mate. It's why I feel ready to take that big step at the moment, because the past 2 years, that's all I've done. It's a lot, mate, and. You're kind of waiting for it to pay off in a way, or just that people notice. That's the biggest thing.
So to get noticed, are you also streaming, putting content out there, and everything?
Yeah, I think you kind of, to get noticed, you have to. So, I do my community games on a Tuesday on my Twitch, where like my community will play the game and I'll cast over them, that kind of stuff. Obviously, I'm on loads of different channels. I'm on Unity Clash's channel, which is actually on Gatlu's channel. I cover stuff there. I cover stuff over on Engage's channel. So I get my face out there all the time. Like my aim is that if it's EU Pokemon Unite, SpartanTano will be on that channel. Like that's what I've really worked at making sure happens.
Let's actually talk a little bit about Unity Clash and Engage, because some people might not be familiar with them. Like, what are these organizations exactly, and how are they helping?
Yeah, so mainly it's organizing tournaments and keeping the grassroots for Pokemon Unite going by having those tournaments and loads of different like initiatives. Unity Clash is headed by an amazing tournament organizer called Shivam. Is an incredible person, and Gatlu is heavily involved in it as well. All of the Unity Clash stuff is done on Gatlu's channel. Pro player from Nouns.
I played with him actually a few times.
Yeah, I love Gatlu. I love him. He loves to win sometimes, but I love the guy.
I played a match where I ran XP share on a questionable Pokemon with him, and
he let you know.
To give him credit, I played an in-house match. This is actually like my first in-house match, and it happens to be that I was playing with Gatlu on the team, and I said, "Hey, let me play XP share Mewtwo X." And he let me play. We did pretty well that game. Unfortunately, we lost at Ray.
Aww.
But after that, he said that it was his fault because he didn't do something properly as Glade and Rapidash. He didn't blame me, which means that at least I played well.
Hey, he's a good one, man. He's one of the good ones. He's always for providing feedback.
I mean,
in
that's
any
super
way.
important. That's how you get better, right?
100%, mate. He's really good. He's awesome to like work with him and Shabam on the Unity Clash stuff. There's times where like we're covering a tournament and Gatlu will give us some insight into like why that draft happened or why they played for this or why they lost that. And it's super cool to see that from like a pro player perspective, mate.
Yeah, I'm sure like for them, because they just put so much time into it, they analyze every single little itty bitty thing. They see
Yeah.
things slightly differently, probably.
Yeah, 100%. And you get that impression from Gatlu, which is it's honestly really interesting. I like that side of some of these pro players. Like when we see the YouTube videos from Slash or from Inda, like it's cool to see like how pros look at the game and how the micro and all that comes out for them. It's so interesting.
Yeah, but nobody talks about XP share Charizard.
There might be a reason, mate. I don't know. You'll have to be the one that gets everybody aware of it, mate, with your content creation.
But to be fair, there's also another thing that I've been trying to preach for a long time, and that's so I played a lot of Azu. Azu is I don't know. I played it a lot. My main. And one of the things you can do with Azu, there's this tech where you can attack the air with Aqua Tail.
I did hear about this, by the way. I watched, was it Zoinks that you were telling me about?
Yeah, I mentioned it before. It's out there now. Everyone's going to do it now.
I hope so, mate, because, I mean, I was listening to it and I was like, I didn't know that. That's quite interesting.
And, I've noticed a pro player doing this with Mewtwo Y. It was attacking the air, just a basic attack. And I wasn't sure if it hit the enemy in the bush or not. But regardless, they ran out of the bush. So it did its job, and I was like,
Scared him.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've been preaching that for a while. And like, for example, I remember Chris Heroes was streaming. He was playing Azu, and I was like spamming in there, attack the air, or whatever, spamming all of his Azu videos too. And then only recently I saw him start actually doing that, and there's a reason for it, man. It's like it fucking works.
Yeah, 100%, mate. It's like it works on Serena for building up that Queenly Ascend, the passive for Serena and stuff like that. So
yeah, but I feel like that one's much more obvious.
Oh, it is. Oh, it's so obvious. But it's one of those where, like, in Pokemon Unite that sometimes that does affect the Pokemon. So it's worth trying it on any, realistically, just to see if you do get that interaction.
But when I would suggest these initially, the reaction was always like, "No, why would I do that? Why would that not work? Or why would that work? This and that, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Whatever, dude. I know what I'm talking about." And I think to some degree we have to just like believe in ourselves so much that we have to disregard what other people think. But the problem is, even if you do believe in yourself, if they get tilted, it doesn't matter.
No, I mean, as soon as you're tilted, you need to turn off the game in any way. Even in a tournament, turn it off. You're not playing. No.
Yeah, just get up and walk away.
Just get up off the stage and like, I'm done. No, honestly, that is the mental is, as you've already mentioned, one of the most important aspects, and it always will be. That's just esports. You got to try and keep your mental about you. And honestly, having the teammates around you is I think one of the biggest parts about that.
Oh yeah, I think it's a big part because there's that like energy that you can feel from each other. Yeah, you kind of have to like get in sync with each other, which can also be, I think it can also be like a detriment because then you're not thinking like on your own enough. Sometimes maybe you're thinking in a specific different way, or you're just like going with what the team is doing. You're afraid of being confident enough to express your own opinion on certain things. There's a nice balance you need to strike, I noticed, with this kind of stuff, because you mentioned it before with ego. I think if you tell people that we should be doing something else, their ego gets hurt and then they shut you down and then they start shit talking you. And then if that player has like a lot of let's say social capital with the other players, they're just going to agree with him and not really think about what you're saying. And it's very much there's this aspect of like a popularity contest type of thing. Like And that's obvious with Mewtwo Y, because now everyone's using Mewtwo Y because the popular kids use them.
It's true, mate. I mean, you'll always have that, I think, with these kind of competitive games. It's tough, but it's the way that fans react in it. Oh, they're really good on this. I'm going to give it a go. Oh, I believe that now that they've said that.
Yeah. So when it comes to like casting, do you have any like specific or special routine that you have before you cast, after you cast, that can help you get into the zone?
Yeah, I mean, outside of like the really serious tournaments and doing some vocal warm-ups and stuff, a lot of the time I roll out of bed and I'm ready to go. I'm prepared. I just make sure I have plenty of water, because that is, with how like casting goes, or especially my kind of casting, because I'm a play-by-play, it's a lot of talking very quickly and you need a lot of water for it. So I just make sure I have plenty of water and I'm ready to go.
That's interesting, because I think it's also related to performing as a player, as a competitive player, because I believe that if you want to be like one of the best, you have to be able to perform at the top of your game, even when the conditions aren't ideal. Like maybe you're tired, maybe you don't have the ideal scenario, or maybe whatever, something is off. You still got to be able to play, because in these tournaments, you're not in your comfort zone. You know, you're not at home. Yeah. You're not in your room. You're not with your normal setup and all that. You're on a stage in front of a bunch of people, you know?
100. And that's why I think sometimes routines can help, because it kind of grounds you. It helps sort of, ground you in that routine, block out everything else that's going on and just concentrate on what you've got in front of you. So, yeah, I think you're absolutely right, mate.
So when it comes to casting, what have you noticed is one of the most difficult aspects there? Is it just understanding the whole meta, being able to talk fast enough?
I mean, the meta changes so quickly, and there's so much to learn about Pokemon Unite that I think gaining that knowledge can be one of the most difficult, because you kind of want to, you've got to gain it and then retain it. But I think on the day-to-day, it's kind of just like working with your co-caster, because the last thing you want to do is cut them up or disrupt their flow or something like that. But you also want to give them enough time to shine themselves. Like it's not all you. It's very much a team effort to put on a good cast, a good production. So I think it's like when you do all these different tournaments, you're put with loads of different casters. So I think one of the most difficult aspects is trying to work out how they work and get their synergy to work with yours to put on a really good show.
Interesting. So how do you practice that? How do you I don't know, understand their synergy?
You kind of have to, you have a lot of conversations before you go onto the cast, like in the green room. It'll be like, if I'm doing this, you're doing that. How do we want to break down like how these fight goes? Like when do we want to hand over, that kind of stuff. And then honestly, a lot of it is just gut feeling, just straight up feeling as you're casting. I don't know if it's just the nature of me. I try to be a really friendly person, so I've never had anyone where I've had difficulty casting with. And I've been paired with loads of people that have like casted for the first time before and stuff like that. I think if you're with someone that you feel like you can get along with, or at least, is quite friendly to you, it really helps ease those nerves. And then you start finding a rhythm between you both. It's quite an exciting thing, to be fair.
Yeah. There's like a synergy there. And if I remember correctly, Zoinks was telling me about how there's like different roles as casters. There's like the color caster and what's the other one? The
play-by-play.
Play-by-play. Yeah. And you prefer the play-by-play one?
Yeah, I think with Pokemon Unite, it's different in a sense that it can be very hybrid, unlike other games. So you kind of do have aspects of both in whatever you do. Even when you watch Worlds, like when Dubes is the play-by-play, but you will hear some color coming out of him at times. I think that's the nature of Pokemon Unite. But down the crux of it, yeah, you've got your color that kind of really explains why that's happening, like why the team has done this, why they've chose that. Like they're really good understanding of what the why, whereas the play-by-play is very much what is happening and what's going on. But you kind of want to elaborate a little bit more than just reading off a kill feed. You don't want to be like, oh, they've got them, they've KO'd them, they've KO'd them. You want to really add to the story rather than just telling it.
Yeah, I guess you can say things like he's coming back for revenge, or now he's salty.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Add to the story. Try and get those storylines. That's what it's about.
So what you're saying is that there should be more teabagging so that there can be more of this.
Yeah, I mean it is Pokemon, so we probably wouldn't say teabagging, but they definitely should be more dancing. Let's get dancing.
All right, dancing. I guess that's what it's called. Dancing, running in circles, or whatever.
Yeah.
So what do you think it is that makes you stand out when it comes to casting?
I would say energy. I mean, I find it really hard to sort of talk myself up because we go on about that ego. I try not to have an ego, but I think with me, like once I turn that switch on with casting, like the energy's there, and I find it hard not to. Even like, I mean, there'll be times where I'll be playing a game by myself, like on stream or something like that, and you can hear it coming out of me at times. Like it just escapes. And I think that's
Wait, when you say it comes out, what are you referring to exactly?
Like just that energy and passion of of casting. Like you will hear me talking about what's happening whilst I'm playing the game in a really hyped up way.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I find it quite hard to turn it off, which is it can be a burden. But yeah.
Well, maybe that's even more why you should be streaming when you play, because then you can kind of just do that and you get into the rhythm without even thinking about it, and people might be interested in listening to that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's kind of where I moved my content creation, because I felt like in Pokemon Unite, there's so many people doing the content creation that's kind of just like, oh, I tried this build or I tried that build. And it doesn't, there's not a lot of variety in it. I mean, you've got these incredible people like Spraggles and, Chris Heroes has got so much they put out. But then you've got these awesome people like Husky who are really doing some detailed like guides and things like that to do with Pokemon Unite and good deep dives. So I felt like there wasn't an area that I could add to with Pokemon Unite, so I kind of just moved it more into my casting. Like my all my content is around, I'm a caster, this is what I'm casting, if you like it, awesome, kind of thing.
I kind of had a similar thought process as well, because when the game first came out, what I actually did was I made an online course on how to rank up and how to get to master rank, which you probably know is like stupid easy to get to. And it was up, it was a paid course, but it was pretty cheap and all that. But it wasn't making a lot of sales, and I ended up putting it out there for free. And I used it now to kind of transition people to funnel them into my stream, which is kind of why I stream, and also why I don't really use the microphone on my stream, because I just kind of, I do it to kind of have this like open door policy, people can interact with me. If I'm playing, anyone can just hop in and say something in my chat. I'm not necessarily there to entertain. I'm just like, hey guys, I'm playing now. Who wants to chat with me or whatever? And then over time, I was like, man, this is not really going anywhere. Unless I put more effort, like using my microphone, putting my face cam on, it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, it's slowly growing, but nothing significant. And I'm not necessarily doing it to make money from Twitch. And then that's how I came up with the idea of doing this podcast, because it's a format that's not really, it's something I it's like a missing empty spot in the scene, let's say. There is like the Overdunk podcast, but the format is quite different there. It's not just like a chit chat type of style. Yeah. It's much more focused and much more streamlined on maybe a specific discussion, and it's more organized. And I don't know, here you're free to ask me questions, and I come up with random questions. And
it's very conversation like. That's what I enjoy about it, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like a lot of people, especially competitive players, they don't really get a lot of opportunities to like show themselves as a person. Obviously, as a caster, you show yourself much more. As a streamer, you show yourself much more. So that's different. But as a player, usually people just know the username and that's it,
Yeah, no, that's a very valid point, mate. I like getting that kind of, and I'm sure I've heard from other people that they like seeing the more info about these players. Like they're not just players, there's more to them.
Yeah, there's a human there.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly.
Now with AI, who knows? It's gonna take our jobs. It's gonna perform in esports and all that. I'm staying up to date with AI a lot, and I've been using it in like different projects of mine as well. So Yeah, it's gonna take our jobs.
Gonna take a noob. I hope not, 'cause I'd be screwed, bro. I don't have that many skills.
I don't know. Maybe the government will step in, and then we don't have to work, give us some UBI and all that good stuff, right?
I'm lucky in the sense that I work at a university, and they're very much against AI. So
But if we look at history, we can see how the same trend happened with all sorts of inventions, like the automobile.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the internet. People are like, it's just a nonsense, and they fought it for a while, and then eventually they had to accept it.
Yeah, I think it's only going to get worse, or better, whichever way you look at AI, I guess. I mean, to be fair, I use it a lot for thumbnails and stuff like Canva, because I can't draw, and I don't have the money to pay someone to draw them for me. If I did, I absolutely would. So the tools in Canva are pretty good, but that's as far as like I use AI.
I think a good use case for you might be to use it to analyze your commentary. It's actually quite good at analyzing speech. Like, I use it in my English coaching lessons, and it like analyzes the mistakes and the grammar mistakes that my students make.
Oh, cool.
So maybe it can be used to analyze your commentary, but take it all with a grain of salt, because it doesn't understand the meta very well, and it tends to make a lot of stupid mistakes. For now.
And of course, what I find, because I do also use it for making captions on like TikTok videos and stuff, is that my accent is not understood very well by AI a lot of the time, and it struggles with certain like words and stuff. It takes a lot of editing.
Yeah, just start speaking American. What are you doing?
That's what I need. I can't even do it. The most I can do is Scottish, and that's it.
That's even worse.
Yes, exactly. It doesn't get any better, mate.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we're getting kind of near the end of this podcast, but I wanted to see if you had like any particular questions that you've been meaning to ask me. Did you have anything in the back of your mind?
I think I covered it. Other than, what Pokemon do you want adding to Pokemon Unite?
Well, I think the next top Pokemon that I would really like added are the last evolutions. Now they're actually starting to add them with Vaporeon. Last week I was talking to Sparky about this, and I had a theory that maybe it would be just one Pokemon with all three as an option. Like how, Scizor and Scyther is one Pokemon that you can choose later in the match. I was hoping it would be something like that, where you can equip a specific item, and then it evolves into one of those three specific, but it's not. It's just going to be, each is different.
As long as they add Jolteon, I'm all down.
Yeah, it's going to be a speedster for sure.
I hope so. A speedster would make me very happy.
Yeah, and it makes sense that Vaporeon is a defender, because its stats are very defensive in the mainstream games as well. Which means Flareon is going to be an attacker, all-rounder.
Probably all-rounder, knowing Pokemon Unite.
Yeah. The other one I was excited for Pokemon Unite to add was Empoleon, which they're also adding now.
Yeah, a lot of hype around Empoleon, and I get it. It's going to be an exciting Pokemon, but all-rounders.
And then what's that other water-type starter Pokemon? Water ground, I think it is.
What generation?
I don't even remember the generation. It's
Poplio?
Maybe. I'm blanking right now. Sometimes I really blank on some of these Pokemon.
Hey, me too. Is it Mudkip?
Yes, Mudkip.
Yeah.
I've loved using that one in the mainstream games. What generation is that, by the way?
Generation 3. That would actually be a really cool addition to Pokemon Unite,
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I would quite like that. Me, though, I want Cubone. I want Marowak added to the game so bad, and specifically the Alolan version, because it's one of the only version types that I actually like. So
Actually, I have no idea about the Alolan version for that one. What's that? What type is that?
It is Ghost, I believe.
Okay.
It's so cool. It's one of the only version type Pokemon where I actually prefer it. Galarian Rapidash is the other one because it looks really cool.
Yep.
do not like Alolan Raichu. There's an ongoing thing in my streams at the moment where I think it's really ugly. So I'm not a fan of it. I've got so much hate for it. Not a fan of it. Anyone listening to this podcast, I'm sorry, but Alolan Raichu is ugly. The OG is the best.
Well, unfortunately, it's probably never going to be added now.
It upsets me so much. There should be an option, simple as that. There should be an option that you should be able to upgrade to OG Raichu. You don't even have to introduce new moves. Just let me be that Pokemon.
Yeah, no, like a lot of these Pokemon, they have this potential to give you two options, like they do with Scissor. But I wonder why they don't, you know. But something they mentioned that they should be bringing up is more Mega Evolutions, and I'm interested to see how they're gonna do that, because there's different options. Like Charizard has 2 different Mega Evolutions, right? And I'm sure they want to add like the Mega Evolution for Lucario because it's super hype and mainstream and popular.
Same with Absol.
And
but yeah, it's gonna be, how are they gonna introduce that? Because the only way I can think of where it would be quite fair is to put like a Mega Stone on either a held item, allowing that mechanic to come in. So like you would just play normal Absol if you didn't have the Mega Stone on it, and then if you do add the Mega Stone as a held item, you get like the charge rate that Mega Mewtwo gets. Or maybe just putting it on on Fair Sky Ruins as a pickup or something. I don't know.
I think I would like it to be more as like an item, because then it kind of shifts like the balance of the Pokemon. Like maybe early game is going to be less powerful.
Yeah.
Or even vice versa. I don't even know, because like Mewtwo doesn't Mega Evolve until level 5. So
yeah, which is great for the early game. Very good for the lane that you're in. So I think taking a held item off, like sacrificing some sort of utility in that way for the power you'll get with the Mega, I think is the only way it can really go.
Yeah, I think that's the best way. But you know, unfortunately, I feel like if that happens, there's gonna be people equipping that item with Pokemon that don't have Megas, and it's just gonna.
Well, they originally, when Zacian came out, you could equip the rusted sword onto other Pokemon.
Really?
Even though it didn't do anything. Yeah, they patched it eventually. But yeah, you used to be able to equip it on like other Pokemon. So
what the heck?
It was weird, mate. I used to play Pokemon Unite Roulette, where you let the roulette wheel like pick your Pokemon and your held items. So back then, I ended up playing it on like, I think it was like an all-rounder, like another all-rounder that had like the rusted sword on it. I must have got flamed on Reddit, is all I'll say.
Yeah, it's just a handicap.
Yeah.
I played a match where we handicapped ourselves, where all 5 of us had XP share. Even the jungler.
I love it.
Yeah, new meta, 5 XP share, let's go.
Hey, listen, at least you're all sharing out the XP evenly.
Yeah, it's literally just a handicap. Like, it just nullifies the whole benefit.
It's just completely pointless.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. You might as well have just not had a held item.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. I mean, it gives you a little bit of HP and move speed.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, as long as you had fun with it, mate, that's the main part.
Yeah, we had fun and then we lost, but it was fun.
Have fun in losing.
Yeah,
I do feel like I need to, because I mentioned quite a bit of Unity Clash earlier, so I feel like I need to mention Engage, because
Go for it.
It wouldn't be fair to mention one and not the other. So yeah, Engage, they're another team that have been putting together some incredible tournaments for EU. It's head up by Zenith, who's putting so much effort into Engage. Their latest thing that they've just announced, by the way, is the Unite Fight Club.
Yep.
The Engage Fight Club, and it looks exciting. Keep a close eye on it, because I think it's going to be unlike any other tournament Pokemon Unite has had, or at least the stuff that's built around it is going to be unlike anything that Unite has had. And it'll really help with development for the EU players. That's the aim of it. So
yeah, I've actually been participating in the Fight Club before Engage kind of got involved.
Yeah,
and it like unlocked a whole new realm for me, because right before I got invited to join it, I was literally thinking, man, it would be nice to join like some way to play with people who actually use voice chat, coordinate with other teams. And then like literally the next day, I got a message on Discord from Yashi, who organizes it, to join. I was like, What do you know? That's like I just manifested this. Like
That's what I need to do with the casting, bro. I'm just gonna manifest it. I like it.
yeah, you gotta
she's so
give
cool.
yourself some affirmations and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, that's good. Have you been enjoying it?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, the main problem is that they usually play super late at night, and I have to.
Yeah.
I have some lessons and meetings super early the next day, so it's hard for me to join a lot of these matches. But you know, it's been super interesting because I started putting in the chat there things like XP share Charizard to see what they think, and they they lose their minds.
It's gonna do that in any kind of like coaching area that you get. EXP shed Charizard, waiting for that one person to be like, "Yeah, you're right. You're right."
I'm just rage baiting at this point.
Hey, mate, stick to your guns. You believe in it, stick to it.
Yeah, maybe it's a solo queue thing. I don't know. I need to test it, but the problem is I don't have opportunities to test it because if I even think about mentioning it, they will lose their minds and then their mental is screwed and then it's all downhill from there. So
Yeah, it's one of those though where like someone should let you try it in like where there's not much on the line. And I think like in houses and some of these tournaments, like there's not much on the line. Like let
Yeah.
it have a go. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
yeah, like I played a match where they used the XP share on a Decidueye. And I'm not really a fan of that because the Decidueye has 0 CC. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, I'm the same.
It doesn't have a slow. It doesn't have, like, sure, if you put anti-heal item on it, then it has anti-heal. But, you like, sure, you can use a Spirit Shackle to check the bushes and check the positioning of your enemies. But that's about it.
That's the most support that you're getting from that one.
Yeah. I mean, sure, it needs more HP if you don't want it to die. So go for it, I guess. Maybe they know something I don't.
Maybe, mate. Maybe it's like that's how they feel about your Charizard.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, another XP share. So I'm gonna mention this one last thing before I guess we sign off here. But XP share Tinkaton.
I have seen people using it actually,
Hey.
especially in the community games that I cover. Yeah, I have seen people. I mean, you don't see much Tinkerton anyway. But in those like silly kind of playing games, I have seen it.
Yeah. It's another one that I see more potential in, I guess. But yeah, maybe next time I play some of these matches, I'll just lock in instantly with XP share Charizard and say, I don't care what you guys think.
Yeah, I think you need to, mate. That is a YouTube video in the making. Get it on there.
Yeah, I'm gonna. You know, actually, I think one time I was actually matched up in rank with like Chris Heroes or something, and I ran XP share Charizard.
Oh, buddy, there will be some post somewhere about that.
Yeah, and even if I'm not on his team, I would choose it just to make sure I beat him, and then he can say that he lost to an XP share Charizard.
I'll be keeping a close eye on the post for it, mate.
Yeah, for sure. Cool, man. Well, let's go ahead and then leave it off here. I think we had a really super good chat, interesting discussion, good vibes.
Yeah.
Any last
Thanks
thing you
for
want to
having me.
mention? Maybe call out your socials or something for people who might want to follow you.
Yeah, sure. So it's SpartanTano on X now, or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Drop me a follow over there, and then Twitter is just Spartan_Tano. Twitch, sorry, Spartan_Tano, because for some reason somebody stole the name SpartanTano and they don't even use their account, bro. So
They're trolling you.
it's illegal, mate. It's ridiculous. So yeah, Spartan_Tano over on that purple app. I do community games on a Tuesday where you can come and play ridiculous stuff. There's me and Tajima from the US who do it. So come and get involved because we do fun stuff and it's ridiculous. And
Is that where I can do some XP share Charizard?
you can put EXP share on any Pokemon you want and everybody will be okay with it, mate.
Oh, nice. And you say you do it on Tuesdays? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna hop on.
Yeah, man, Tuesday nights. And I'll be casting over it. I look forward to it.
And you put it on your Twitch? You're streaming it?
Yeah, it goes on Twitch and my YouTube as well.
All right, so I'll make sure to subscribe to you and follow and enable notifications and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
So that
appreciate it.
So I can practice more XP share Charizard.
I'd actually like to see how people react to it. Like, go for it.
You'll see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna choose it. Everyone's gonna lose their minds, and I can tell like just how people play. You know, I choose it, they lose their minds. You know, they don't. Yeah.
Oh yeah, mate. There's probably a full Reddit thread about just you using that EXP share Charizard.
That would be a compliment, man.
That's one way of looking at it. Yeah, definitely.
You know, haters, you know, they give you good content, you know, so.
That they do, mate. Hey, at least they're talking about you. That's the main thing.
Yeah, there you go. Cool, man. Well, like I said, super good chat, and I'm sure we'll be in touch. We'll see you around. Maybe we'll play some matches. Who knows? But definitely see you soon.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Of course, anytime. Man, I'm always down to do another episode in the future at some point. Who knows? But let's give it some time. I'll have a few other guests, and you know, as things change, when you become the main caster for Unite and Worlds, I'll do another episode with you and see how things have progressed.
I like it, mate. Manifesting it. That's
There
what
you
we're
go. We're manifesting whatever we need.
doing.
Cool, man. Well, hope you have a great evening, and see you next time.
Thanks, buddy. Catch you in a bit.
Bye.